Hi, welcome to Ninja Monkey. Today I thought I'd give you a little talk about what it's like to travel alone, to travel solo, especially around Japan. So I've been doing this for the last couple of years. I've been traveling by myself, solo, around Japan, and a lot of people ask me, how can you do it? How can you travel by yourself? And to be honest, it's really easy. So I just want to tell you what it's like for me in my personal experience. Firstly, let's talk about some of the pros about traveling by yourself. Obviously, number one is that you're your own boss. You can do whatever you want, whenever you want. You don't have to ask anybody what you want to do, you do it. And that is probably the best thing about traveling on your own. You're hungry, you eat. You're sleepy, you go to bed. You want to have a nap, you have a nap. That sort of thing. That's definitely a big pro about traveling on your own. Another great thing about traveling on your own is actually how you can make up your own itinerary. You can be super flexible and you can go where you want, because probably if you're going to travel by yourself, you're going to do a lot of research about where you're going to go. So that's definitely why I like to travel on my own. Now, don't get me wrong, I think that traveling with friends and traveling in a group is a lot of fun. There are times that when I'm traveling on my own, I kind of think, oh, I wish such and such was here with me, or I wish I was here with a group of people, because sometimes you just want to experience something and share it with people, which is kind of why I make these YouTube videos, to share my experiences with those people that haven't traveled with me. You. Having your own itinerary is super liberating. I have to say that I love doing all the planning that I do that goes into my trips. I love spending hours exploring Google, checking out other YouTube videos, other forums, etc. to see where I want to go. Another really cool thing about traveling by yourself is you can stay in whatever type of hotel you want to stay in. Now, I am not a very picky hotelier, is that even a word? But I don't mind where I stay as long as it's clean, it's close to a station, it's got relatively okay reviews, and it's cheap depending on where I'm gonna go. So I know that when I've traveled with friends in the past, sometimes I know that the hotel that I normally stay in now might not be their cup of tea, and that would normally mean the price going up. I tend to stay in relatively, I wouldn't say like super cheap, but sort of like middle range hotels, and I always make sure that the location is key. The location is close to a station or close to wherever I'm traveling, so that it makes it super easy for me to get out and explore. Traveling around Japan is super easy, I swear. If you have been wondering or worrying about traveling on your own in Japan, then get it out of your head. You can travel, you can do it. It's not difficult. The first 24 hours is probably the best part of being on your own. It's where you actually feel actually liberated, and you feel like, hey, I can do this. There's a new language, there's new signs, there's new types of food, new sounds, new smells, new everything. And that is incredibly unique when you're on your own. When you're with other people, you are sort of like attentive to one another, attentive to your friend, attentive to the group, and therefore you actually lose out on experiencing what a country or what a city has to offer, especially when you're on your own, because you literally are taking it all in. There's no escape, there's no conversation, there's nothing other than maybe your phone. But yeah, that's, for me, is a huge plus about traveling on my own. When I travel around Japan, I do know where I'm going. I've plotted out my routes. I've pretty much planned every single station I'm gonna go to, every single train options that I'm gonna get, just in case I miss one. I know when the next one is, that sort of thing. And I would say that if you are going to travel on your own and it's the first time that you're traveling, then put a lot of planning into it, because it's going to really ease your mind. It's going to make things really easy for you in the long run. I think that now I'm really comfortable traveling around Japan. I feel like if I was to miss a train, I wouldn't have to like panic. I could just check out and figure out how to get where I need to go without worrying or pre-planning. I also feel that now I'm a lot more flexible. I can change my trips on the go. I have a rough itinerary, and then I just do as I feel that I need to do. Sometimes I meet people like in a bar or in a izakaya, and they tell me, hey, you should check out this temple, and maybe the temple is not somewhere that I had in my list of places to visit, and I changed my itinerary accordingly. And I think that sometimes those things you don't do when you're with a group of people, you don't do when you're with friends, because usually you have this really rigid plan of places that you want to go, things that you want to eat, things that you want to experience, and the more people there are in a group, the more rigid that that plan becomes. Also, I also think that when you are in a bar, in an izakaya, in a restaurant, wherever, in a group of people with your friends, usually the locals might not be so friendly, in the sense that they might not actually give you all the advice that you might get when you're on your own. My personal experience is that when I'm on my own in an izakaya, I sit down, I order a beer or whatever, and usually the barman or the bar woman usually asks me, where are you from? And I always, tell them I'm from Gibraltar, and they're really surprised and they don't know what the hell I'm talking about and have to explain it to them. I carry like loads of postcards from my city here in Gibraltar. I give it to them like omiyagi, like a little gift for them. They really appreciate it, and then the conversation starts rolling. Usually somebody else joins in. Before you know it, there's 3 or 4 people talking to you, and sometimes you get some really unique, interesting insights into places to visit wherever you may be. I've actually ended up going to some pretty cool, pretty neat places that I hadn't planned on going, thanks to the opinions and the advice of the locals, and that's all because I was traveling on my own. I'm pretty sure that if I was traveling with my friends, maybe, it can happen. People do talk, especially in groups. It does happen, but I just think that it's a little bit more intimidating when you're with a group of Westerners. It's a little bit more intimidating for Japanese people to sort of come and talk to you. You will find the Japanese person that just wants to practice their English, and that's fine. I entertain that. I like to practice my Japanese when I can. They really want to practice their English, so they will approach you, but maybe not necessarily to help you, more to help themselves. But it's quite nice to have that little bit of company, and that little bit of a chat when you're having a drink or a meal. In fact, when I went to Sapporo, I remember I was having some Genghis Khan, which is like a typical meal made out of lamb in Sapporo, and I didn't know how to cook it. I was on my own, and this lovely Japanese couple that were sitting next to me, they came over and they sort of laughed at me, like in a friendly way. They explained how to cook it and etc. And we had a few beers together, and they were actually from Tokyo, so they gave me some tips of places that I should visit in Tokyo, which I wrote down and I visited, which was pretty cool. Yeah, I think that the main piece of advice I would give somebody that's traveling to Japan on their own for the first time is keep calm, don't worry. There's always going to be people to help you, especially now with the Tokyo Olympics. You'll see lots of people with jackets, like tourist help people, and they're surely going to help you. Also, don't worry, keep calm. Hopefully you have an internet connection, and if not, if you haven't watched my videos before, it's my #1 recommended thing to do when you travel to Japan is to get your internet sorted, get yourself a pocket Wi-Fi or a SIM card for your phone, so that when you are in Japan and you do get lost and you need to translate, etc., you can use Google Maps or Google Translate feature, and that will really ease your worries. Yeah, so do that. Now, the negatives about traveling on your own is, yeah, sometimes you might feel a little bit lonely. It's gonna happen. It depends. I personally haven't really felt lonely because I've had such action-packed trips. I've had things to do every single day, all the time, and sometimes I just love sitting down and staring and people watching, and I really appreciate that. But sometimes you might feel lonely. It's gonna happen. You are traveling by yourself. In the same way that when you're traveling with a group of people, you might feel a little bit overwhelmed and you want to get away from them and you want to be by yourself. Well, the other way around. You might be by yourself and you might think, oh my goodness, I really want to be with people. If you're the type of person that's worried because you are going to be feeling lonely, then there's plenty of apps out there like Meetup, etc., that you can use to meet people so that you don't feel completely lonely. Another concern, some people say to me, how can you eat by yourself? I mean, you travel around Japan, you travel around Asia, etc. by yourself. How on earth do you eat by yourself? Well, I put food in my mouth and I swallow. That's how I eat by myself. And actually Japan is one of the best places in the world, in my personal experience, to eat on your own, to travel on your own. There are many restaurants that cater to the one person eating there. They have bar area where you can eat. They have dividers for individual customers. So you won't have a problem eating on your own in Japan. And I don't think or think that you would feel awkward eating on your own. Definitely in Japan, it's not going to be awkward. They cater for the solo customer, definitely. So a little bit of an overview. I think that if you're going to be traveling by yourself in Japan especially, you shouldn't worry. I think you should plan ahead, know exactly where you're going, know exactly where you're staying, know exactly what transport method you're going to use. That's going to make you feel a lot more at ease. Also use your solo travel to your advantage, to meet new people, to meet locals, to see things that perhaps people might recommend along the journey. And most important of all, have loads of fun and use the opportunity of being by yourself to see what you want, what you're interested in. You're interested in art galleries, go to art galleries. You're interested in temples, go to temples, that sort of thing. So do it, just don't worry about it, just go, get your ticket. That's the first thing you need to do. Get your ticket and head out. Anyway, this has been a little bit of an impromptu video talking about what it's like to travel around Japan on your own, solo travel, etc. What do you think? Have you traveled on your own before? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, give me a thumbs up if you're new to the channel, and see you soon. Bye!